Let's talk about culture. All right. As I've said before, in this class with culture, you're expected to be able to identify and discuss the values, customs, and traditions within the Hispanic world. Well, in this chapter, we are focusing on the United States. Okay. So that's where we're headed. That's why we're doing what we're doing. All right. So the United States. Here's our world map. Okay, and in our world map, we know that the U.S. is right here. We are just north of Mexico, and we have lots of Hispanic influence here in Texas that comes from Mexico. So here we are, Los Estados Unidos. This is the way you say the United States in Spanish. It's abbreviated EEUU. So if you're saying you're American, you say soy estadounidense and soy de los Estados Unidos. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the meat of what I want to talk about today. Whenever we talk about Hispanics in the U.S., the truth is people that are Spanish-speaking come from all over the Spanish-speaking world. As I mentioned before, in Texas, many of our Spanish speakers came from Mexico, and their Spanish comes from a Mexican kind of root. But there are also Spanish speakers in the United States that come from Spain, that come from Central America. There are lots of different places. They come from South America, lots of different places where people come from. But I'm going to talk about Hispanics in kind of a broad stroke, and I'm going to talk about the values specifically of family. Now, I'm not going to say that only Hispanics value family because that's false. That would be an incorrect statement. But what I am going to say is that as a culture, Hispanics within the United States generally put a very strong emphasis on family. I'm going to give you a specific example of a Hispanic family that I know. When I taught second grade, a little girl in my class was named Maria. And when Christmas came around, she was so excited about the gift that her whole family would receive. She didn't talk about her Christmas list that had all of her things that she wanted. She talked about the one gift that they were all going to share. Now, it was a TV, so it was a huge ticket item for them and for many of us. But instead of talking specifically about all of her gifts for her under the tree, it was one gift for all. And the point that I'm making is that family was very, very important to her. And sharing a gift, even at Christmas time, was what was most important. So I also want to include with this that whenever we talk about family in Spanish, if we want to put in a pronoun, instead of saying it as we would in English, it does not translate into a particular pronoun in Spanish. It's going to be either ella or él. And because family is a feminine word, to say it, we use ella. So if we're saying the family is big, la familia es grande, then we say ella es grande. It is big. So instead of saying we are big, as we would in English to translate this, in Spanish, if we're saying my family is big, it is one unit. Okay, even though it's lots of people and you think it might be plural, they are big, it's one unit, the family. Ella es grande. So to wrap up with this, the point that I'm making is that the family is more important than thinking of each individual within the unit. So that's the value that I'm wanting to impart to you that's very important within Hispanic culture in the United States, that family is valued very highly, family is very important, and family is something that is to be cherished and to be valued. So anyway, that is your cultural moment about los EEUU. And adios.